Okay, welcome. We're going to go over our tactical plan for Kensington Soccer Club versus Philadelphia Soccer Club. Philadelphia Soccer Club plays a 4-2-3-1, and you can see here is their this 10 is going to move up and the 9 is going to move up. So to create that 3-1 shape, and you can see the shadow of their other CDM. They have two CDMs. And you can see right away the weakness of this is going to be the outsides, and we're going to show how the strength is the middle defensively for them. We want to be careful not to force from our center backs. And let's watch here, and we'll just see it in action. Then we'll go to the tactical board. So you can see it's starting to take shape now. The one is going forward, and you'll see there is a good, real good look at what it looks like. Fullback, center back. There's center backs here. There's six, right, for Heritage, and so it forces them back. All right, and you can see this 3-1 shape. Okay, which in the two CDMs guarding behind. They're very strong in the middle. They shift over and keep. It's very difficult to go through this teeth here. All right, so let's see. You play it over. And now I want you to notice something which I'll show on the tactical board. The nine's job on their team here is to keep our center backs far enough back that their pass will be at a far distance. So you can see the center backs are opting smartly to not go in, right? The center backs can't drive forward because of the nine. That's the nine's job here, is to keep our center backs back so that the ball cannot, you can't send a ground ball through this. Okay? So the ball, we have to break it with someone other than the center backs on the ground in general. Okay? Let's see. All right. Center backs are back. This is a dangerous ball, but he can do it. And you'll see he makes it. He's immediately closed down. Okay. That's, I think, like one of their eights coming up to defend. One of their 6-8s. All right. So we want to be careful here through this middle. All right. And you can see that he does eventually break it. We'll just show it. This is another way to break it that Heritage does, and they do a good job of this. And it goes up to 8-10, and he just like leaves it back. Okay. So, but we're gonna go a different route, and although that's an option. So let's take a look. It's tactical board. This would be a typical if we were playing a 4-3-3, which we're not going to. So, but I want you to show what it looks like and why the 4-2-3-1 is so effective and what its strengths are and what its weaknesses are. So let's talk about its strengths, which are if you're in a 4-3-3 and we play out to Valentino, they can close us down, right? And naturally they have everything closed down, right? Our 8 and 10 are closed, okay? And you'll see that also the nine's job of keeping our center backs back if they try to drive, right? So that distance is a long distance to play through there, right? So they can handle our fullbacks, we just showed, right? And they can also stop our center backs from penetrating through the middle. So now their only pass is out to the sides, right? Of course, we can go over the top, and we always want to look for that when that's open. So if we look, what we're going to do is we're not going to play with wide fullbacks because we see how easily they can close that down. They can close down the middle and they can close down our fullbacks. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do what we've been doing. We're going to invert the fullbacks. Okay, and they can, Sam could even come in here since Sam is on the weak side here, right? Okay, and Val would drop down, all right, or Val could jump in here, right, and John could come around. But let's just even show it with Val right here and dropping in to receive just a little bit closer than Jason. So as Jason's being closed down, Val's just a little closer. And what Bassam is going to do is provide the width. And he only needs to come down as far as a passing angle for Val, right? Okay, which sometimes will require him if it's a heavy press, it will require Bassam to come all the way down, Ahmed, right? And then what Val wants to do is you can even wait a second, let him close you so that it completely wipes him out. Because if you go too early, watch what happens. And you play he can be closed down, almost like he's a fullback, Bassam, right? So let's be patient, right? And let him wipe himself out and play, right? And the other thing you can do is, um, if he comes down, right, John can position himself, right? And then Hamza could check in, right? And we could just do this like we do in the rondos. Out to the side, look for the window, and now where that would have been a difficult pass from Jason, not that Jason can't make the pass, it's just it's further, so it's easier for them to squeeze it and intercept it, right? Whereas for Val to play to John, this is just a little tap, and John one touches it through the Hamza, and we are off to the races, right? Okay, so something important to be said when it does go to Ahmad or any of our wingers, that yes, take the space, but keep in mind you're going to be closed down, right? So the same principle applies that we talked about with Val. Consider stopping at a certain point, right? Because if you try to play a ball on the run, you might run out of room, and then you have to rush it or it gets blocked and you take away your own pass. So consider just stopping, getting under control, and then, it's possible Hamza could just sit here and wait. And then play it, and then Noah's making the run, and we just play right in Noah, right? So that can't be done if you're out of control. Another thing that can be done is we consider, waiting as this goes. Hamza exploits that space, and Luke drops in, or even John comes over, and we do the same thing where he's out, and then we play to John, and Hamza makes the run. Okay, boom, boom, to Noah. You get the idea, okay? This is how we're going to exploit Philly soccer. Keeping in mind that balls from our center backs, okay, are going to be more difficult because of the tightness of that 3, and that the 9 keeps our center backs back, right? So one more thing I want to talk about is the fact that we have this overload with the inverted fullbacks now. So even before he drops down, we'll see that when Val is here and John is here and Sam is here, right? They have 4 and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we have a +1 here, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to make it more than a +1. It's +2 if you count Evan. We're going to make it more than a +1 by intelligent movement from our other players. We talked about Ahmad, right, on marking. So now instead of a 5v4, it's a 6v4, right? Victor can stead because Victor's not ball side. So now it's a 6v4, right? Very easy in a big space. How can we make it a 7v4? Hamza checks out, but then he checks back in. Or Hamza pins this guy, right? And now he's preoccupied. Hamza gets his attention, and Luke simply comes around. Don't go in front necessarily, right? Because then you're going to get the attention of the 8. Just go behind him, come around, right? And we literally have 2 players here, right? And then maybe Luke gets his attention, and then Hamza comes down, but now he's afraid to leave because Luke's here, right? So we can, there's nothing stopping us from sending 2 guys. These guys play a zone. They don't play man-to-man. So they're very likely to just leave Luke and Hamza to create an overload, right? And so now we have extra players, right? And now we have this nice setup where, again, it might be difficult for Jason to break that. So we just have, Val drop off, John drop off. It's just a simple pass. He comes, right? Bing, bing, we're broken, right? We got to be smart about this. We practice rondos for a reason in tight spaces. This would be awesome to break it this way. The default is, though, that, this is the beautiful way to break it, but the default is just beat him over the head with play it out the Val or the other side, right? He comes down, and we just simply, Ahmed drops down and, does this. Eventually, they're going to start dropping this guy down, like we talked about, and that's when Hamza, Luke, and Noah need to look to make those runs into this vacated space, right? Into this vacated space. Okay, then Luke can come down, and we just boom, boom. All right, we got to exploit the space. Noah can exploit it, and then Hamza could take over as striker, but we have to exploit the space. We saw it against Salone. We have to be ready to exploit the vacated space of the fullback. Just like early in the game, the space we talk about will be here, right? The space will be here, and that's what we're going to have Ahmed exploit, right? Early in the game. But eventually, they're not stupid. Teams adjust. They're going to start taking that away, okay? And that's when we exploit the space behind. Or they'll exploit it. They'll start sending their 6 out, okay, which is going to open up this space, right? Which then we look to exploit it in here, right? Okay? I hope that makes sense. That's how we're going to win this game. Let's be ready. Let's get sleep. I'll see you all tomorrow.